This is a demonstration of the continuous supply chain accelerator real-time inventory tracking. So I'm going to go ahead and start a simulation here. And this simulation is going to take a while to get started because what it's going to do is generate a series of sales all up front for the next year. But as soon as this clock starts ticking, the events will start flowing through the system. So we have initial inventory set up for all of our distribution centers and all of our stores, and we can look at those levels here now. And this tree map is showing you where the inventory is relative to each one of the distribution centers and then stores. As the sales are processed, the stores will start to get smaller, and then when we start resupplying the stores from the distribution centers, those stores will then start to get larger relative to the size of those distribution centers. So you can see here already we have some stores that have already requested orders from their distribution centers. If we go down and look at the inventory for that store, we'll be able to see that we have a Americano product has dropped below the safety stock level for that particular store, which has then triggered an order from its distribution center. If I turn up the simulation speed here, this will start to get a bit more interesting, and we'll start to see more and more stock changes to the inventories for individual stores. We can look at the stock alerts now as well for the stores. And this shows you stores where the current inventory level is below the safety stock and how close it is to zero. So if I select this one, we can see that this particular store currently has 23 units and needs at least 31 to be in a safe level. So we've already triggered off an automatic order request from its distribution center to resupply that store. We can look at the active orders for each store as well. If I select this store, we can see we have orders outstanding for Ethiopian ground and intense mocha. So the simulation has stopped at 5 in the morning here on the next day. So at this point, what happens is the accelerator takes all of the orders from the previous day, and then it generates trips from the distribution centers to service those individual stores. So if we go into the store deliveries view here, we'll be able to look at what those trips are going to look like. So if I select this one, you can see we're servicing 2 stores from this distribution center. So to allocate the stores to trips, it goes through an algorithm to assign stores based on constraints of the number or capacity of the vehicle, as well as the amount of time that it takes to deliver to those stores. And it tries to minimize the distance that will be traveled. If we select some of these other trips here, we can see different types of stores. So this one has 3 stores that are provisioned. As soon as it has assigned the stores, it then makes calls out to TIBCO GeoAnalytics to get the driving directions between those stores and then be able to come up with estimated arrival times at each location. So you can see this trip is departing the Contra Costa distribution center at 8 in the morning. It's estimated to arrive at the store 144 at 8:23 in the morning, followed by 27 at 8:52 and then 137 at 9:24. And this is based on driving directions that were generated in real time. So once we know that or estimated arrival time, we send those as advanced shipping notices to those stores so they know when their products are going to arrive. So I'm going to go ahead and resume the simulation. I'm going to knock down the simulation speed a little bit here so that we can actually see the vehicles moving around as they travel from store to store. So the vehicle is indicated by the arrow here, and we can track that in real time now as it travels around its route. So we're now approaching store 144. You can see that's now been marked as arrived, and we know the actual arrival time. And the order for that store has now been marked as delivered. And at this point now, the inventory for that store has now been incremented by the amount of oil that was then delivered as part of that trip. There we go, that's store 144, and you can see the spike in the inventory level for hazelnut flavor was the order that has just been delivered to that store. I'm going to turn up the simulation speed again here, and we'll see more of these will start occurring. We can also track the DC inventory as well. we can select DC and look at how the inventory over time is changing. Generally, the DC inventories don't change so quickly because they're only changed when there's a resupply request from each individual store. We can also look at stock alerts and inbound orders as well. And we can also look at service levels for those stores as well as they're being resupplied by the suppliers. And we can look at the efficiency of the suppliers and the transports, much the way that we can look at the historical data, except this is all being viewed in real time.